Detroit Den, breaking news. But before we get started, do not forget, hit that subscribe button and do not forget to hit that bell icon so you don't miss any of our new content. Steve, hot off the presses, what do we got for our people today?
Oh, nothing big. Just, the quarterback of our Detroit Lions for the next 4 or 5 years. 4-year extension. So 5 years with Jared Goff, 4 years, $212 million.
Yeah.
$170 million guaranteed. William, can I just say something real fast?
Talk to me.
Jared, if you happen to listen to this, your boy's birthday is on Wednesday. If you want to pack me a nice little birthday card with 20 stacks in it, maybe some upgraded VIP seats or some backstage passes, or maybe even just come on the Detroit Den 313 podcast, it would greatly be appreciated. Greatly.
I'd settle for him just coming on the podcast, man. I'm going to be honest. Settle for that. Yes, sir.
How do you feel about this second highest paid quarterback in the NFL right now?
Yeah, second highest paid quarterback in the NFL and the highest paid Lions in the history of the Detroit Lions, man. So Jared Goff has been playing some good football. So hey, listen, took us to the NFC Championship game. Darn near took us to the Super Bowl. Was not the reason why we lost the Super Bowl. So I'm happy to have him moving forward, man. How do you feel about it?
I love it. I get it. The price tag's high. I love it. it. We'll get into that in a little bit. But let me just throw some facts at people real quick, William. Let me take you back to a nice summer day in 2017. Matthew Stafford signed a contract for 5 years, $135 million, 92 guaranteed, $92 million, making him the highest paid quarterback in the NFL for a quick breath. Similar to the Amon-Ra St. Brown situation. People were irate that Matthew Stafford had the label of highest paid player, highest paid quarterback in the NFL. People were mad that he didn't win. He didn't win playoff games. He never won the division. He had all these stats, just couldn't get it done when it mattered. Jared Goff has done all of that times two playoff games. Like you said, NFC Championship game. Shouldn't have lost. He wasn't the reason. Zero blame on Jared on that one. Pretty much the only one we really can't blame in that game. So Jared Goff earned this contract. He earned it. Brad Holmes said it himself last week when he was on an interview at 97 Won the Ticket. They asked him why hasn't the Jared Goff deal happened yet. Brad pretty much kind of beat it around the bush, but he did say Jared Goff has earned an extension. It just wasn't done yet. It was still in the works. So that's all there is to it. I mean, pretty much I'll let you say your piece, William. I got a lot of stuff.
I'm here for it, man. I'm not here to interrupt you, man. I'll just say this, man. Jared Goff, second highest paid QB now.
Yep, behind Joe Burrow.
Do you think that he's the second best QB?
No, but I think
that's my question.
I think this opens the door for Patrick Mahomes to get a pay raise because he's $45 million a year, I think, and Jared's making $8 million more. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. It's not even a question. But he signed that contract a few years ago, so it was that was a good price for Patrick Mahomes back then. But if I were him, I'd be saying, "Hey, man, let me get my agent on the phone because if Jared Goff's getting 53, why can't I get 153?"
Because he signed a 10-year deal.
Well,
he signed for a decade for what, $500 million or something crazy, whatever it was.
I mean, he's getting his money too.
Yeah, he's getting paid, man. He's getting paid. But that's what it leads me to, man, because in a league where it's who's the top dog, and I want the dollars to reflect that. And we just did an episode talking about the QB positions, and there was quite a few QBs that we had either in a conversation or slightly ahead of Jared Goff. Now him being the second highest paid QB in the NFL. Do you think that Brad Holmes overpaid?
A little bit, but I think we're talking a couple million. I mean, in the grand scheme of the NFL, a couple million's nothing. Would I have liked it to be 49, 50? Yeah. Am I going to cry or lose sleep over 53? No. Okay. It's not worth the hassle. It's not worth the headache of, I get it. $3-4 million to you and me changes our life. We retire, we ride off into the sunset, drink margaritas all day, have a real good time. In the NFL, teams spend $3 million on team dinners when they go out of town. Okay. That's just the kind of money the NFL has. So it's just a different type of lifestyle.
Okay. Yeah.
How do you feel?
Listen, man, I've been kind of containing myself, but here's what I will say. I'll state my piece. Listen, this is just another situation where Brad Holmes has absolutely fleeced the NFL. Absolutely fleece the NFL. And a lot of people are talking about this deal initially upset or thinking that we may have overpaid or we may have overextended, but I'm here to tell you we didn't, and we didn't at all. And here's why. Jared, when we came on to Detroit Den, I've said it numerous times. I want Jared Goff to sign for a 3-year deal. I want him for 3 years. Brad Holmes obviously watches the show because what did he do? What did he go do? He said, "Hey, Will, I heard you, and I'm going to take your advice. I know this whole 34-year-old quarterback thing. I know Jared Goff is going to be right at that 34-year-old window. He's going to be approaching that at the end of this thing. So you know what I'm going to do for you, Will? I'm going to listen. I'm going to go ahead and sign him for 3 years. I know it says 4 years, but the deal has an option to get out in the 4th year. That's where the 170 comes in. So what is Jared Goff really getting paid? People really get confused about these contracts, right? They see the numbers. They see that the average salary is going to be $53 million. With the option to get out of this thing, right, in the 4th season in 2028, right, he's going to be getting $42.5 million on average. That's what the guaranteed numbers on average is. So he's got $170 million guaranteed, right? He's getting essentially paid $30 million guaranteed money less than Kirk Cousins, who I believe that he's better than. I think I can attest, Steve, you saying
yes,
that you think he's better than Kirk Cousins. So, and I'm quite sure Jared Goff probably believes that he's better than Kirk Cousins, and I'm quite sure that's probably why this deal took so long to get done.
Show me a folding chair and show me Kirk Cousins. Let's see which one folds first in a big playoff game.
Right. Yeah, you're not wrong, man. So I think Brad Holmes absolutely just he got thick on the league, and he got thick on Jared, and he put his foot down and said, "Hey, I got a business to run here. I love you, man, but we got to do this thing the right way to keep this thing going." And hey, the bottom line is, who knows what Jared Goff could do in a situation where he doesn't have the best offensive line and he doesn't have all these weapons. So I think that, while Jared Goff is a phenomenal player, I'm quite sure he really wasn't looking to go run for his life somewhere else. So bottom line is this: Brad Holmes, I salute you. You're a monster, a savage, and you're the best GM in football, if you ask me, right? So if we want to continue playing with Jared Goff this fourth season, we will. If we don't, then we won't. We have 3 years to. I'm not going to call it kicking the can down the road, because that would be disrespectful. We got a solid quarterback for the next 3 years. I'm not going to say great, but I'm going to say sniffing around the word of great for the next 3 years. We got him at a deal. We got him at the same price point as Danny Dimes, who, if you're telling me I was picking in between Danny Dimes and Jared Goff, it's Jared Goff 172 times out of 10. If you told me I was picking between Kirk Cousins and Jared Goff 1 million times out of 10 for $30 million guaranteed money less. Wow, I'm thrilled, happy, ecstatic. I can't even think of enough words to describe how happy I am. Let's go. Get the season.
William, I've heard a couple names floated around about, I've heard Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Tua Tagovailoa. Jared Goff has more playoff wins than all three of those guys combined.
Yeah.
So who would you feel more comfortable giving $52 million to, $53 million to? Would it be Jared Goff or Tua?
I'm not giving $53 million or $1 million to anybody. I'm giving $42.5 million out. I just make the numbers look sexy.
Here's the thing. You know what happened in 2023, William?
Talk to me.
The Detroit Lions, we finally got a taste of winning. Mm-hmm. We got a little taste. We got a little tip of the tongue. We got our taste buds wet.
Yeah.
If you guys want to keep that type of feeling, that type of winning, this is what you have to do. You have to pay your players. You want good players, you got to pay them.
Responsibly.
Yeah. I mean,
which is what we just saw.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't overpay. We might have overpaid a couple million, but it's no big deal. All right. We didn't overpay by 10 million, 15, 11, 12, whatever you want to call it. A couple million in the NFL, like I said, no big deal. If you guys want to show up on Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays, and say, I got a pretty good chance of watching my Detroit Lions get a win. I got a pretty good chance of playing some meaningful football in late November, December, playoff games in January, possibly Super Bowls. This is what you have to do. You have to pay players. You have to get them to stay. You don't want to play quarterback roulette. You don't want to just throw, I'll just use Hendon Hooker. You don't want to throw him in there and say, hey, sink or swim, when you got a guy who's been sniffing on the door of a Super Bowl, his second Super Bowl in Jared Goff. You don't want to keep playing this. Well, do I draft a quarterback? It's a crapshoot. You don't know what you're getting. You got a guy, you sign him, you keep him. You don't want to risk free agency. You know why there's no quarterbacks in free agency? Because good teams lock up their guys. Yeah. Good teams find ways to build around them. It's just, this is the way it is. And I did something I hate doing today, William. When this news broke, I turned on 97.1 and I was listening to the Valenti, and Mike Stone was on there, and I was just listening to some callers, and it seemed like there was like a 50-50 mix of people loving it, people hating it. Yeah. We're not here to change anybody's minds. We're here to give our opinions and just throw facts at you. Like, if you guys want to keep playing meaningful football games, you want to see the Detroit Lions win, an organization that's been an embarrassment for the past, I don't know, pretty much my whole life up until recently. Where I used to wear Detroit Lions stuff out, and people be like, "Oh man, Lions fan!" Like, dang, I feel bad for you guys. Like, and did you guys go 0-16 one time? Now it's like, hey man, you guys got a pretty good squad. You know, hey, the Lions are no team, no joke. No joke. You guys, got a nice GM who's putting together a nice squad. You want to keep that momentum going, that energy. This is what has to happen.
Yeah, we know what we got in our quarterback, man. We signed him to a fair deal. I'm very happy about it, man. And that's just the bottom line for me. I'm not worried about anybody else. And I think that's what I like about Brad Holmes, man. He's not worried about what other quarterbacks are getting. He's not worried about what the league says. He's not worried about who we're supposed to draft or what makes sense. He does what he thinks makes sense for our football team. I think this was a deal that made sense for our football team. Essentially, all he did was give Jared Goff a $10 million pay raise. He was getting $33 million. Right. So he got truly less than $10 million pay raise with the ability to get on average $53 million. With the ability. When you see these contracts and what you can make and what you really get are two totally different things. This contract is a solid, fair deal. If he gets $53 million, it'll be because he's been playing absolutely outside of his mind. And if he isn't, we got the option to get out of this thing in 3 years. I'm happy with it. Jared Goff, congratulations. I'm happy for you, man. What you've done for the Detroit Lions is absolutely special, and we appreciated the Jared Goff chants they were well earned, and hopefully we can continue to do that and lift the Lombardi Trophy. But I'm excited about it, Steve, and that's all I got, man.
Here's the $42 million question, William. We have 3 years to win a Super Bowl, in my opinion. We have 3 years, maybe 4. So let's call it 4.
Yeah, I don't agree with that, though.
You don't? Brad Holmes has tied himself to the core of this team. Amon-Ra St. Penei Sewell, Jared Goff. Like, Jared Goff's probably not getting another monster deal after this. We can agree on that.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think that it necessarily has to mean a Super Bowl. I think we're building this team the right way. We're building this team with young talent through the draft. When you do that, these guys can play for, sometimes great football, man, for 8 seasons. Great football for 8 seasons. So as this thing starts to unravel, it's going to keep that young talent coming in. We're not getting those old free agents. We don't have a team like the Rams where they went out and bought their team, went and got traded for their quarterback, and then had a couple season run, and now they're battling with a guy who's beat up in not Jared Goff and Matt Stafford, and you got Aaron Donald retiring, and you got people leaving. That's not what we got, man. We got young dogs in this team, and I think that we're setting ourselves up to be good for a very long time. In my opinion, that's how I see it.
I have to disagree. I see this as 4 years. Brad Holmes has officially tied himself to Jared Goff. Like, this is, I gotta be careful. This is where I have to be careful. Where GMs get themselves in trouble is mainly when they draft a quarterback and it doesn't work out. You have to explain to the owner, hey, I messed up. You're probably going to get fired. I'm not saying Brad Holmes is in that category, but he has just officially tied himself to Jared Goff, given him the extension. We'll call it the $53 million, assuming they pick up that option. You have 4 years to win a Super Bowl. I don't want to be like the Atlanta Falcons, where in 2-3 years from now, I'm having to reach on a quarterback in the first round and draft a Michael Penix. I don't want to be in that boat. I want that Super Bowl parade down Woodward. Nobody will be talking about money or dollars or how much it costs to get there. We'll all be partying, having a good time, and some weekday in February when everyone calls off from the Ford plants and every surrounding business is shut down for the day. Nobody's going to care about how much Jared Goff's making. Yeah, I think the window is right there, 4 years.
I think I completely disagree, man, because I don't think that there's anybody in the building who didn't want to sign Jared Goff. So I think that you get yourself in trouble when you're going against the owner, when you're drafting a Michael Penix and the owner is looking at you like, what are we doing, man? Like, what is going on? You have to explain yourself. Nothing about what Brad Holmes did today. I feel like he'll have to explain himself for. Giving Jared Goff the same amount of money that Danny Dimes is getting, I don't think you got to explain yourself for that. Giving him $30 million less guaranteed than Kirk Cousins is getting, I don't think you got to explain yourself for that, man. The guy took us to the NFC Championship game. If he doesn't pan out, but he continues to play like Jared Goff, I think that it's no big deal. This thing moves on, man. We're still gonna have Brian Branch is gonna get another contract. Aiden Hutchinson is gonna get another contract. Our Penei Sewell is going to have another contract, man. So, I mean, I think the young core of this team, man, they're going to get more contracts, and we're going to continue to build this line as it ages out, man. Like when Christian Mahogany is still out there, Manu is still out there, and we'll still be drafting guys through the next 4 drafts. We're always going to be continuing to develop and get more young talent as we lose some of these older guys, or we got to replace guys that are just outside of that market window of what we want to pay. I think this team's set up, man. We're set up to be successful for a while.
Time will tell. So I guess we have one of those teams, Team Steve versus Team Wills.
Yes, sir.
Let us know in the comments. Is the Super Bowl window the Jared Goff era, the next 4 years? Leave it in the comments. Hit that like button. If you're new, stick around, subscribe. We'll be back later with another show.
Peace.